Okay, how about, okay, mine's on. That should be right. I think it was just my one. I think it was just my one, to be fair, because I can see you bouncing on the bottom there. Oh, that whole introduction. Oh, no, you missed it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, the idea is this is the first time we're going live with this. And hopefully you can hear us now. But the idea of the People's Picks is it's your platform to get your opinions here on this world stage. Basically, find out how to pick fights. Not teaching you what to say when it comes to picking fights, but how to go about it. We're going to break down, of course, in great spectacular fashion, each of the fights that you guys who've sent in your videos have picked. And then also, of course, give you a bit of an idea as to what we think is going to be happening on the rolls out too. But hopefully it sounds fixed. Don't know if you can validate that on YouTube, Ash, but be better now. Your sounds raw. Oh, okay. Well, they're both on here now on the bottom. Should be good. But let us know if it's not fixed and if you can't hear either of me or Ash. But without any further ado, I do believe we're good on sound. Let's jump straight back into it. But we got to look into the card. Hey, man, welcome. Good to see you, geese. Thanks for coming aboard. I can hear you. Are you talking to me? Oh, yeah. All right, so the chat, can you hear Ash? If you can't hear Ash, just say Ash's mic off. Or if you cannot hear me, then say, sorry, my mic is off. And then hopefully should fix the issue. All right. Okay, so I believe it should be fixed now. We'll jump straight into it, but we're looking at UFC 267. We got to break down the card going from the very bottom to the very top. So first one up, Ankalaev versus Ozdemir. Oh man, they're all going to be good fights. This is going to be the spark that lights the fire on that night. You know, I'm telling you. So both these guys, crazy fighters. You got Volkan, no time Ozdemir against Magomed Ankalaev. The numbers here, of course, you got 15-1 against Ankalaev. You got 17-5 towards Ozdemir. And height, not too much separating either of them, but the reach, again, exactly the same. This could be a toss-up, 50-50. We do have some opinions from the fans who broke down what they thought was going to happen in this particular fight and matchup. So let's hear what they had to say about it, and we'll come right back.
All right, so my picks for UFC 267. I'll start from the bottom. I believe Ankalaev will win. He is very well rounded, and Ozdemir is seemingly past his prime.
Hey, fella.
All right, so my picks for UFC 267. I'll start from the bottom. I believe.
Hello, everybody at ATF. How you guys doing? These are my picks for UFC 267. I'm going to start with Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir at light heavyweight. I think that Ankalaev's on a roll recently. I think that his striking, his knockout power, combined with his well-rounded wrestling, will give him the victory over Ozdemir. I think Ozdemir is a great fighter, but you know, he took a lot of damage in the Yuri fight. It'll be up to him to push the pace and come back from that.
All right, and we're back. So yeah, look, that's already the picks coming straight through the door. Some really good opinions there. So we've got, of course, Chris chiming in and Taylor. So shout out to those guys. Their Twitter handles are there on the screen as well. So if you feel free to hit them up or follow them, then absolutely go ahead and do that. But what's your take on this one, Ash? Who do you think is going to be taking it away? Yeah. Mic is off, is it? Okay, just double checking that. Seems to be fine here. But I can be heard, just you can't be heard. Is that what it is? I'll go to the audio down here. Same audio. Yep, you're in and through the VB cable. As suggested. And I'm working out as quickly as possible. Trying to get this all repaired. But please bear with us for the technical issues, guys. Not ideal, I know, but But yeah, we will in a second. All right, refresh. Let's see how that works now. Is that okay? Do a sound check. I mean, this is not working as smoothly as we would hope, to be honest with you, but this is what happens when you do things real time. Still nothing. And you're going through the VB cable. Everything is ticked, and ticked. So we haven't had this issue before, which is peculiar. Very peculiar. Yep. Zoom audio. There you go. That is connected. That is very odd. Yeah, I can hear you on Zoom. Perfectly fine. And everyone else can hear you on, I guess they can't hear you on. Okay. Jordan, if you're there, help. we're up without a paddle at the moment. But you could be heard initially, but not me. And you checked it yourself, Ash? You can hear yourself, and still no audio coming through on the YouTube? I don't either. I am absolutely bamboozled because Cam's audio, Zoom audio, that's ticked as always. All right. Smile and wave though, right? You'll be a support. I might have to bounce things off you, and then you can confirm a couple of things, check things. But look, show must go on, and in the next interval, we get us try it once more with that. If I can reset some things. But anyway, so in terms of the wins by, if you're looking up here, KOs, you've got 60% KO wins over there from Frank Aliyev. And then, of course, you've got 71% from Uzumir. So power-wise, these guys pack a lot of power. And Uzumir is known to be someone with a bit of that natural power as well. Now, in terms of the decisions one, Ankalaev has seen far more decisions than Uzumir has. So this guy, he's got more ways to win, in my opinion, when it comes down to it. I don't know if you agree with that as well, Ash. But, he tends to be in the fight. He can win either on the ground. He could do it standing up. I mean, although he hasn't got any submission wins. That was one thing that shocked me, actually, when I was doing the breakdown of these fights. He spends a lot of time on the ground, and he's good in the grappling, but he doesn't have any submission wins on his record at all. Yeah. So when it comes down to significant strikes, per minute output all day long for Uzumir, it's his bread and butter. That's what he does best. He's standing, he's throwing those hands. And then, of course, if you see down here, in terms of the strikes absorbed, he is standing a lot more than Ankalaev is. Ankalaev is mixing into takedowns into his game. He's not necessarily standing up. He's absorbing less strikes in that way. However, Uzumir is someone who can take one and just dish it out. He's a bit more of a brawler, you see. So when you're looking at this fight, you got to look at that dynamic. Is Ankalaev someone who's going to be sort of dancing around him, keeping it at a pace, and sort of picking his shots wisely, or taking it to the ground? Yeah. Yeah. You think he might mix it in? Was that the wrestling too? Yeah. Look, potentially so. Grappling wise, it shows there quite clearly 1.18 and his takedown average, and 0.36 against Uzumir. So, yeah, in terms of he's got the tools and more ways to win, it's probably going to look like to be Ankalaev, which is why got a little bit of that support there in the picks from the people. Shall we have a quick look at the gauge and see how we're going to go each way with this? So, for you, if I say striking for because we're working without a mic for you particularly, right? If I say striking, then you're going to have to let me know whether it's going to be red corner or blue corner, what you think. Yeah. So, we've got Ankalaev there. Or Uzumir, who's going to take it on striking ability? Left hand for... Who do you reckon's going to? You think Ankalaev striking? Yeah? Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I'll go with that as well. I think that's a fair point. When it comes to striking, Ankalaev will run away with that. I think he's got cleaner his position. Reach is the same. Yeah, I don't know. I think his shots are cleaner. Yeah, certainly. And then when you go to power, then you'll give it to Uzumir. That makes sense. I'll go with that. Sorry, I'll put it under grappling. When it comes to power, yeah, I'll go to Uzumir with that as well. But in terms of grappling, what do you think? Who takes that? Yep, Ankalaev gets grappling. I agree with that. And speed. Who's got speed advantage? Uzdemir for speed. Okay. Okay. Give him something. I would say Ankalaev on speed, but I'll give the cardio. Oh, again, maybe cardio goes to Ankalaev, actually. He's seen out far more decisions than Uzdemir has. Yeah, already got that as well. Already done. That's exactly what it says here on the Zoom. But yeah, I mean, yep. When it comes to VB cable, it is ticked. VB cable ticked, absolutely. And then you've got how's that? Oh yeah, an OBS is ticked. Yeah, it's ticked on OBS as well. The I in OBS down there. When it comes to Zoom audio, it's ticked. And if I go like, that should be on. Yeah, all audio's on. But yeah. So who you gonna give cardio to? Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Ankalaev run with cardio. So looking at it already, we've got 3-2. Ankalaev probably runs away with this one. And in terms of who you would take for this fight, is it Ankalaev as well over Uzdemir? I like his chances. Well, I just feel like he's got more ways to win. He can take it to the ground. He can mix things up when it gets too hot on the feet. Let's go back to then the next fight on the card, and let's see who's gonna be taking this. So we've got the Jing Liang. Yeah, hey, nailed that one. It's Chimaev. So yeah, Hazmat Chimaev. So here we go. So this guy is it's crazy, Ash. The one time you get the names right, no one can hear you. You know what I mean? So looking at the record, we've got 18-6 against Jing Liang, and we've got the undefeated Kazmat Chimaev as well, just 9 wins there as well on his card. He's impressive. 2 inches over to Chimaev, but looking at that reach advantage, it is significant in Chimaev's corner there. He's got 75 inches on reach to Jing Liang's 71. So yeah, in terms of how it's going to be done strategically, he can probably pick it apart from a distance. But that's how it looks on the cards. Shall we see what the people have said about this as well? In the meantime, absolutely. Let's have a look.
Hey fellas, I hope you're well. My most confident pick for the weekend would be a Khamzat Chimaev decision or submission victory over Li Jingliang. And the fight I'm most looking forward to is Piotr Jan versus Sanhagen. That's going to be such a good scrap. All the best, boys.
I got Kazmat Chimaev because he is just a complete bear.
Okay, and we're back. No luck on that audio for you, Ash. No. You're bouncing around down here. Zoom audio, that's you, and it's going through the VB cable, so you should be heard. But unfortunately, I don't know whether it's just well, they should all be set up, but I can't imagine why there would be anything. I mean, if I'm coming through, then you'd come through. It's got to fall down to the OBS really. But I'm dancing here on the visuals. I can see my sound bar going, and your sound bar is going as well. So it is. It's being read. It should be going out. I'm a bit bamboozled about that as well. So other than that, look, we got people going for Chimaev here. No, you're up. No gates, no, you're dancing and you're up, you're high, you're bouncing. It says to me, you should be heard. What it says. It's very unusual. Very, very unusual. I don't know if Jordan in the background can check some of those live stream settings on YouTube. See if there's anything there that could be the reason for this. I don't know, but help us out, please. Okay, so in terms of this matchup here, so we looked at the record already, and we're coming down now to wins by now KO knockouts 67% over in the blue corner for Chimaev, and Jing Liang 50%. Now here's the thing about Chimaev, right? He just steamrolls people. You know, he gets straight into the fight immediately. He bullies people. Oh yeah, write down on some cards and hold up words and say, yeah, we'll have to do that. Honestly, I am baffled. I am absolutely baffled. You know, when something's wrong, there's usually one of these reasons, and all of these reasons are saying the right. You know, there shouldn't be anything wrong with this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. I do not understand. Team audio, VB cable. Trying to think in terms of as far as the mixer goes as well. Yeah. Perplexed. I'm absolutely perplexed. Like I say, on the visuals here on the Streamlabs, your sound is bouncing. Gotta be something in YouTube. But hey, this is what happens when we do things for the first time. This is the first time we're doing the People's Picks absolutely live. So you gotta expect some of these things to go wrong sometimes. Hopefully it never happens again. So anyway, we've got look, he bullies people, and Jing Liang is known to have a lot of power as well, right? He has a lot of power, and he does move really well in the octagon. Like we've seen a plethora amount of knockouts in the tape we've watched this guy coming up this week. Now submissions when it goes to the ground, 33% there for Chimaev, and yeah, Jing Liang can get it done there too. He gets 22% submissions, not massively different. And decisions. Now someone like Chimaev doesn't see decisions. He doesn't. He comes in, he's either knocking you out, he's getting a sub on the floor, he's got those long arms, which can make it really good to sink the submissions as well. And then, you know, Jing Liang's been a bit of a brawler. He's gone toe-to-toe with people, and he's slugged it out for the long way. Already checked it. It's all on. I know. I'm scratching my head too. It is all on. I'm looking right at it now. It's on. It's not off. That is eye off. That is eye on. It's locked and eye on. Yeah, it's supposed to be locked. Well, could do either. But, sure. Unlocked. So, can't hear you, but there's, check. If anyone can hear Ash, drop in the notes and let us know. What we talk about now is, of course, in terms of how Jing Liang gets it done. And, you don't think he does? You don't think he does? I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's a power puncher. He's a bit of a brawler. What do you think he has to do to give Chimaev a good enough challenge? What do they need to do? He needs to run. Okay. So yeah. So basically, go on, tell us the story about Lee when he lost to Neil Magny. Yeah, he did. Yeah. If you put Chimaev against Neil Magny, you're right. Neil Chimaev every time. But how long ago was that? How long ago was the Neil Magny fight? It was last year. March 2020? Yeah, but he's not really been that actively. I think it was like March 2020, if you double check that. But yeah, so it's a while back, March 2020 when that happened. And basically, has he learned? He's had a couple of fights since. It did certainly expose a kink in his armor. But here's the thing about someone who's undefeated: no one knows the weakness yet. No one's figured it out. They don't know how to get it done. So we can only speculate here. Yeah, absolutely. And look at the precision here for someone like Chimaev too, 9.03 against someone who's got 4.52. And significant strikes there as well. But look, the guy's just an absolute dog. I don't think we have to spend too much time on this particular one, do we? We can say Chimaev is looking certainly quite good for this just because, you know, the way he finished fights. But, the problem with people who finish fights quickly is they don't fight long enough for us to realize, to find out enough about them, you know? So, of course, he looks good. Anyone can look good when they sort of get a fight done within 30 seconds or 2 minutes of a fight. But until they've really gone the duration and they've done enough fights, can you really sort of see how they are as a fighter? So, yeah, there's a lot of data to collect on this guy. But how do you think that matches up in terms of the stats, the gauge, so striking? Who would you give that to? You give it to Lee. Okay. I would give it to Chimaev. No, I mean, that's because he strikes 1-2 times, has significant accuracy, and then he's working on the ground. Yeah. Yeah, he's throwing the strikes, he's hit, and then he's rocked, and then he just sort of, well, he's fast. But okay, you want to go to with Lee on that one. And yeah, I mean, I just don't think I can give Lee anything much else. So, but I'm happy to do the charity. Grappling. All the rest. Oh, okay. I hear. Yeah. I mean, power wise, yeah. Okay, we can go Lee on that one. We can certainly give Lee the power on that one. Oh, it's hard to say though, because the knockout numbers, it does lean towards Chimaev too, but again, we're at data shortage. Look, no doubt in it, Lee does have power. I'll go on that one. Grappling, we'll go Chimaev on grappling. And then we got speed, which is going to be for Chimaev for speed. Okay. And then cardio. Who's get cardio? Might have to go. Hey, Chimaev just hasn't gone the distance. We don't know. Oh. I've seen Lee throw labored strikes, so haven't we? And that's like in the third. So it's hard. It's hard to call this one just because you haven't seen someone go the full distance. And we're still 2 apiece. I haven't seen Chimaev gas. I might have to give him cardio. But is that silly when you haven't seen him go the full? All right. Yeah. Okay. And so in terms of striking, you said that was going to go to Lee, or did you make your mind up on Chimaev for that? Striking for Chimaev. Okay. And then cardio, we've seen Lee go the distance, so cardio gets it for Lee. All right, fair enough. I mean, if that's the way it looks, and that's how I would probably do the MMA maths on it as well, I do like Chimaev for this one. He's just a dog, and I do feel like for someone like Lee, he needs space to work. And if he's crowded, if he's pressured, which is one of Chimaev's best abilities, he uses his pressure as a weapon in the octagon, and I think it's just going to suffocate Lee, and he's just not going to be able to get going. So, I mean, as the story of many of Chimaev's fights, to be honest. But, well, okay, no, decent. Let's, shall we go back to the next fight on the card and see who's up? All right. So let's read through this, and then we'll go through some tape on some of the picks we've got for it. And also, we shall try again at that sound audio. That's really bugging me, honestly. Okay, so here we go. We've got now Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura. Now, looking at the record, 33-9 for Volkov. He's been around forever and a day, this guy. He's got an impressive, great fighter. Then you got Marcin Tybura, who's 22-6. Now, in terms of the height, you've got a huge advantage in height going to Volkov. The guy's a giant in comparison. But Tybura is not a short guy, but, 6'7" against 6'3". Now, you've got the reach advantage here in inches. It goes 2 inches over to Volkov, so not a massive difference in inches there, 80 versus the 78. But again, like, when you're a taller guy, it does seem like your reach is going to be significantly longer, although it's not by that much here on the paper. It does seem like it's... But let's see what the people have to say about this particular matchup, and we'll see you right back here after.
I have Alexander Volkov in the next fight against Marcin Tybura. I think Tybura is a good guy, but I think Volkov, if he can keep it on the feet, his striking is just a bit too sharp for him. I think he will get the TKO in round 2.
For Volkov versus Tybura, I'm kind of mixed, but I'm leaning towards Volkov. He just seems like he's too long and experienced to lose to Tybura.
Okay, and there you have it. That's the picks there for the guys, which is pretty cool. Not too bad. We've got Volkov being looked at there. I mean, I think what people are seeing is, of course, Volkov's height and his ability, and also the sort of finishes he's been able to do before in the past. Now, we did restart the Zoom call, so hopefully that's rejigged a couple of things, smacked the telephone box, the television box on the top, and that's just sort of jigged a couple of things. So let us know if you can hear Ash now, or if you can't. That should be good. Still nothing? Okay, so Zoom is not. But you are going through the VB cable, and you are coming through here on. Thing. Yep. That is a shout. Really good idea. Okay, change that. And back to VB cable. Let's see if that actually worked. That's not a bad idea. So I just moved you away to something else and put you back. Right, so in terms of the knockouts ability, so we've got 67% for Volkov and 41% for Teixeira. Now, I'm actually surprised because I thought Teixeira was a bit of a knockout artist. I thought he had more so than Volkov. What do you think about that? Yeah, well, in terms of the knockout ability, who reckons? I mean, I thought Teixeira was a bit of a power puncher who just had the knockout ability over to Volkov, to be honest. You reckon? Right, yeah. It is. It is. And look, what about the? I mean, if you look here at the numbers, right? So submission-wise, on the ground, you got 27% for Teixeira. He's quite good on the ground, it seems, opposed to Volkan's 9%. And decisions, 24%, 32%. So these guys have gone the distance multiple times. But in terms of who's had the most title fights, isn't that Volkov? It is, isn't it? He's been on a 5-rounder for longer, for far more than. Yeah. No, he certainly has. Well, looking at the significant strikes, you got 4.84 there for Volkov, and then you got 3.63 for Teixeira. The big difference there is, I guess, Teixeira is absorbing far more strikes than Volkov is, and I think the reason why that is Volkov is a taller fighter, he's a longer fighter, and he uses his reach really well to sort of strike and move in matchups. But yeah, in terms of striking, you're right. It looks pretty even Stevens across the board on that. Not too. Is it just because that reach advantage he's got? Oh, although it's slight. Yeah. It's pretty decent. Then you've got the grappling there. So, of course, you've got 1.67. Yeah. Although, Volkov's pretty good at the grappling, isn't he? Does spend a lot of time up against the fence. I noticed as well. It weighs on his fight. It's a bit like what BłACHOWICZ would do as well. Similar sort of BłACHOWICZ-esque. But takedown accuracy, it's funny because while the grappling, of course, sides more with Teixeira, takedown accuracy is significantly in Volkov's playing field. Look at that. It's 70% over 45%. So what do you think what's going to happen in a fight? Do you reckon it's going to be at range striking, or do you reckon they're going to be getting quite close, physical, close encounters, and takedowns going to be happening? Yeah. Teixeira is going to get a takedown on Volkov. And does he get close? Ranging. He is pretty good at keeping it rangy. He is. Striking and moving. Yeah? Yeah. Go have a look at now at the striking, grappling, the gauges, the advantages. So in terms of striking, you'll give it to Volkov, yeah? All right, nice. Now when it comes to grappling, who gets that? Bora. Cool. Now, power. This is a big one. And looking at the knockouts, it does favor Volkov for most knockouts. Yeah. You think he's going to have the power over Teixeira? Okay. So we're going with red on that one. Speed for Volkov. Who gets cardio? I would go Volkov too. He's certainly had far more 5-round fights. I mean, that's like a pretty one-sided scale. Is it a mismatch, do you think? Or, what are we overlooking here? Yeah, if he can close the distance. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to win for Teixeira, getting close and getting a takedown. Smother him on the ground and pound. So do you reckon he should go for that submission? Yeah, potentially. Let him hold his weight, basically. Although they're around the same sort of size and weight. But, okay, so let's go into the next fight on the card, shall we? See who's up next, and we'll get some people picks views on it. So we are at Makachev versus Dan Hooker. Fight number 4. Now, I love this one. So, I know. There's so many things I imagine you'd want to say about this. I'm frustrated as well. I don't know why no one can hear. I reckon it's potential is overloaded with a lot of stuff in it. I don't know. Need to sort of pick stuff out. But this particular matchup, right? So we are looking at number 5 in the division against number 6 in the division. We got 20-1 on the record of Makachev, and then for Dan Hooker, we got 21-10 on his record. Now, Dan Hooker is a people's fighter, a fighter's fighter. People love to see this guy in the octagon. He goes hell for leather. It's great. Now, in terms of the height, he's 6 foot, and then of course you've got 5'10" for Makachev. Reach, you have a 5-inch reach advantage there for Hooker, and then you've got on Makachev 70 inches, 17.5. So yeah, it seems to be sided one way if you're looking at reach and height advantages. It certainly goes up to Dan Hooker. But then, we've got to unpack a lot of the other things, because not always the bigger, taller fighter gets it in these sort of things. But nonetheless, let's have a quick look at what the people had to say.
The next fight, the lightweight between Islam Makachev and Dan Hooker. I believe Islam Makachev will win, but Dan Hooker has a good odd on the feet. The
Dan Hooker versus Islam Makachev. I have Islam Makachev winning via submission in round 2. He's a dominant force, the closest to Khabib that we see coming up. So it'll be impressive to see these two fight. Hooker got a good win back recently. He needed that, but I think that Makachev is just going to be a bit too much for him.
Okay, well, that is, that's quite, I think they put it pretty well, to be honest. You got Makachev there against Dan Hooker. Some analysis there in the breakdowns from each of these guys. Ash, seems we can't hear him, but now we can't see him, so multiple problems adding up here for the first time we're running this back. But in any case, we'll try to get it audio back in as soon as possible. We're running through all the diagnostics here on our end when we can. Apologies for the technical. Sucks. It does. But, yes, you're back. Thank you. You left me on my own, although I can't hear you anyway. So, not seeing you was the worst part. But look, so we've got wins here for each of these guys. KOs, 15% of the fights that Islam is in. He's knocking people out. You got 48% for Dan Hooker, which is why he's a fighter's fighter. This guy is exciting. He's on his feet. He gets into dangerous, hostile situations. Ginge, thanks for typing in. So, does anyone see Islam, say Hooker beating Islam? The other way around. Hooker beating Islam. Well, jump in the chats. What do you guys think? Do you guys see Hooker beating Islam? Me personally, I feel like it could happen. It could happen. Yeah. Ability-wise, I'm completely siding with Islam, but you're forgetting some advantages there which are just naturally born within Hooker. So, of course, his height and his reach, which make big problems for Islam. Although he's a skilled fighter, he's got the ability, and I'll favor his ability over Dan. But, there's other advantages you've got to play into factor there. Looking at this, what it looks like here, TKOs, Dan Hooker's a guy who's in his pocket for that. He's got the power. It transcends. He's fantastic. Submission-wise, of course, 45% to his 33%. Yeah, it goes to Islam. And decisions-wise, again, goes to Islam. The guy's a brawler, a fighter. He sees things out to the end on many occasions. But in terms of that striking, now this is really what we're going to be looking at, because the quick question for us, right, Ash, is will Islam take this to the ground, or is he going to stand and fight with him? And this part here on the UFC stats page is going to answer that question for us. So significant strikes. You got something like 4.95 for Hooker against 2.24 for Islam. So it says that he likes to stand a lot more than Islam, but he has a great striking ability as well. So don't sleep on that. Significant strikes, 48% to 58%. So for someone who's actually throwing less strikes and having far more significant, that's far more efficient than a 4.95 landed per minute and a 48% significant strike, if that makes sense. So, he is a skilled fighter, Islam too. So again, we're really tipping the scales back. And then if you look at absorbed, why are these absorbed so much for Dan Hooker? It's because he's on his feet. He's a brawler. He goes toe-to-toe with many of his opponents. Islam, he's a strategic fighter. He gets hit less, which is a far durable way of getting the job done. It's got some longevity to that, his career, I imagine, absorbing their strikes. But, that's all happening because he's mixing the takedowns and he's not standing so often with his opponents. So yeah, it's like, you got someone who throws loads of strikes, gets hit a lot, and you got someone who doesn't throw a lot of strikes and he moves quite well. He's quite adaptable too. So yeah, that's how the striking looks. I don't know. And then grappling, it's all going to be one-sided, really, isn't it? It's going to be Islam. Yeah. So in terms of that, you got to ask yourself, who's going to dictate where this fight takes place, on the ground or standing up? You think Islam's going to be the one to dictate that? Let's check. Yeah. Third most takedown defense, Dan Hooker. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is quite significant stat you need to know when you're fighting someone who likes to work on the ground. Ooh, it does change things. So the question there from Ginge was, does anyone think that Hooker could beat Islam? Well, what does he need to do that? He's got to stuff the takedowns so the cows come home and then punch and move, I think. Make him pay. Use his knee. He's got good with the knees. Bring the knees up. Sanhagen, Freddie. All right, so let's look at how this matches up with the advantage gauge. So striking, who are you giving that to? Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers we got here. It wouldn't be silly to give striking to Dan Hooker. Wouldn't be silly. Although, is just because we see more of it, okay, I agree with you on that one. I'll go Hooker on the striking. Now, what about the grappling? Who gets that? Yeah. Yeah, I know you joked about Dan Hooker, but no one can hear you, so it was wasted. It was wasted on me. Islam gets the grappling and power though. This is important. Who gets power? I'll go Hooker. I'll give the power to Hooker. Yeah, I'll go Hooker for power. Islam's got multiple ways of getting it done, but yeah, Hooker's got the power. Yeah. And then what about speed? He is. Oh, but then so is Hooker. Yeah, for Islam and Hooker as well. I would go speed Hooker and then cardio Islam is what I would do. What would you go with it? Yeah. All right. Well, speed. Let's go with Hooker then on speed. Then, so the question there was: does anyone see Hooker getting the job done over Islam? And the answer is there on the screen. I think that's how he does it. It's possible to get it done. However, do I think he is going to? No, I do think Islam's going to win this one, and that's mainly because MMA mass is so good to a certain point, but it's it doesn't always work. Guys got more ways to do it. Yeah. And 2 for Islam. Although I've got more bit confidence in Islam getting the job done because he's just a wiser fighter. He's a wiser fighter. Really smart. And that's where I'll go with it. Let me know in the comments whether you guys agree with that or you think that's tosh or whatever. So let's have a look at next on the card. This is the one, mate. The one. Jan. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Problem. All right, so Jan versus Corey Sanhagen. Now, this is a pretty decent matchup. It's going to be quite exciting. We've got 15-2 over for Jan. We've got 14-3 for Corey Sanhagen. So these guys are dancing around the same sort of numbers there in the octagon in terms of wins and losses. And then, of course, you got height advantage fully in Corey's favor at 5'11". And you got Jan, the smaller guy, 5'7", there in the octagon. Reach is 70 inches for Corey and then 67 for Jan. So again, taller, longer fighter. Is it going to have the same narrative as earlier on the card when we also looked at a taller, longer fighter there in Volkan? Or is it going to be quite slightly different? Are there other ways of getting it done? You know, this is almost the sort of theme of this card, isn't it? You got a taller, longer fighter against, you know, perhaps a more skilled fighter in ways. And it's just going to have to answer the, you know, universal question of, is bigger better? I guess we'll have to find out. Taylor, hello. Good to see you, geese. Good to see you. You're going to see yourself soon, okay? But we're going to run those people's picks and see what the people's had to say about this particular matchup. And then we'll be right back. Yes, your audio. Let's get that done.
We got my boy Peter Yan against Corey Sanhagen. Sanhagen coming off a loss against TJ Dillashaw. You know, looked great in his fights leading up to that too. Looked great in the fight. Some people even argue that maybe he won that fight. I think that he will do well against Yan. I think it will be an exciting fight, but I think Yan's wrestling as well as his great stand-up will set him ahead, and he will end up winning the interim bantamweight championship there and get his rematch, much deserved rematch with Sterling.
I mean, that was a pretty decent pick. Not too bad at all. Yeah, that was Taylor right there. Hey, Taylor, thanks for chiming on in. And also, hope you like seeing yourself on the big screen. But, you know, we're in this particular matchup. And, yeah, look, we're looking at significant strikes. We have 5.99 there landed for Jan, and they've got 6.32 for Sanhagen. Now, that being said, you know, how do who do you think's got the advantages here? It does seem to be, looking here on paper, pretty 50-50 down the board from all of them. Would you agree, Ash? Okay. Ash just said yes, for those of you who couldn't hear him. And while I still try my hardest to work on that audio. But what about then, of course, when we look at the grappling? Because I think this is where it sort of changes. Right, this is where you got a clear advantage and a clear disadvantage, at least. You got takedown average for someone like Jan, 2.14, and then you got 0.74 for someone like Sanhagen. Now, Sanhagen's a taller fighter. Takedowns don't necessarily come naturally to taller fighters, do they? Unless they're against another taller fighter. So, you know, we could see Jan probably leaning on that in his fight tonight. Do you know what how decorated Jan is in takedown? He's got like some sort of wrestling pedigrees as well, doesn't he? You just sort of check and run that past me. But be interested to find a bit more about that. And takedown average, of course, for some accuracy, is 66% for someone like Jan, and then 44% for Sanhagen. So the question that this should be asked, like sparking in our heads, is, you know, is this fight going to be seen out on the ground, or is it going to be done in the stand-up? But when you look at submissions, they should be asking some interesting questions. 0.55 for Sanhagen, and then you got 0.13 for Jan. Now, both aren't significant, of course, but in terms of how fights are finished, someone like Sanhagen there, he beats Jan. He beats Jan entirely. So, you know, he's not your submitted artist, Jan, but, you know, when he gets it down, he's just smothering you on the ground, and that's an effective tactic too. If you look there in terms of the numbers, submissions, 21% go to Sanhagen, just 7 to Jan. So although he might spend more time on the ground, not how he gets it done. He sort of smart strikes there. So Ash agrees. All right. So let's have a look at the gauge for this particular one, though, right? So in terms of who you're giving the striking to, looking at those numbers, and that all being said, where does it go? Oh, I'd love for you to. Okay. Okay. So you think Peter Yan's the more technical boxer when it comes to striking? Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you think Sterling had the reach advantage there, and Peter Yan was still boxing into pieces, even though Yan. That's a really good point, and I'm with you. I completely agree. I wish everyone can hear you. I did just delete your sound audio point and then put it back in. Hopefully that has fixed it. I don't know, but that's your Zoom audio that I'll pop through the OBS. Hopefully that's, I don't know. This is the first time. Again, guys, for those of you who have just tuned in, apologize for the sound difficulties we are having. We basically have gone for the first time live with the People Picks channel. Usually it's recorded and then sent out like within the next couple of hours. But we're doing this for the YouTube channel for the first time with the whole rebrand we done earlier this week. We thought try this new as well. And naturally we're getting some issues with it. Yeah, it's always, yeah, I know, right? But don't worry, we'll get right back on there, and we're trying to fix it as best we can. So, look, really good points there about how it goes. So, striking, you think still Peter Yan's going to have the advantage here against, all right, nice, against Sanhagen. Okay, we'll give that striking to Peter. Although, yeah, taking nothing away from Sanhagen, I get that. He does have good striking. Yeah. That's true. He's such a clever boxer, Peter Yan. He's someone who can like go from southpaw to orthodox and use that sort of switch between stances to close the distance and just land that power in the guard. I don't see it coming. It's just fantastic. It transcends whatever stance he's standing out of. Grappling. So who's going to have the advantage there? Okay. You don't think Sanhagen will get the takedown out of nowhere? Yeah. He did pressure TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Well, grips, takedowns, Yan against Sterling. Yeah, that happened too. So you think that you can't count Sanhagen out when it comes to grappling. But, of course, if you look at the numbers, it does side in favor of Peter Yan. So you side with Yan for the grappling as well. It's a good mention, that. Yeah. Sanhagen will mix it in. Pressure fighters. I agree with you. You can't count him out when it comes to the grappling. But what about the power then? I mean, where do we go with that? I've got to go Yan. Yeah, I've got to go Yan for the power. Now, you look at the sort of knockouts each of these guys got. It's just edges it with Yan as well. So it's pretty, I mean, that's where I would go with it personally. Speed. Okay. Yan is quick. He's quite close range. Speed. Yeah, I think when you got longer arms, there's almost an illusion that you're fast because it's covering such a distance at pace as well. Okay, we'll go Corey with speed. Now, what do you do for cardio, though? Where'd you go with that? Hasn't Corey had more fights? I mean, these guys have, although the numbers are pretty average, 14 wins and 3, same amount of fights thereabouts. Yes. Yeah, he did go 5 rounds. Pretty okay with TJ, that's right. But you'll go cardio for Corey. Yeah, he does look good even after 5, doesn't he? All right, so there it goes. And the maths tends to say that Peter Yan has the advantage in this particular matchup. But do you guys agree with us? Do you think it should go the other way? Drop your notes in the comments. Let's find out a bit more about that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Who do you think is going to take this one away, Ash? It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, would you agree with the MMA maths, or it's still a toss-up? Yeah. Petty Yan doing what he done to Sterling, yeah? True. True. Sanhagen is a bit tricky. Okay, fair enough. I wonder. Petty I think I like those odds as well, but tough. I mean, I would love Sanhagen. Yeah, wait for it. But I love Sanhagen though, because I think if Sanhagen gets the interim belt, it's just gonna be far more exciting. And then Petty Yan, so I would like it to be Sanhagen, but yeah, maybe Petty Yan does it. All right, so let's see who's up next. So we're looking right down the barrel of the main event of the 267 card, and it's Jan Blockovich against Glover Takeshira. Now, we had a bit of fun earlier in the week, didn't we? Because these guys don't have nicknames. A lot of fights don't, but we decided to call him Jan Lego Blockovich just because of the head shape. But I reckon he should run with that if he watches this video, which I'm sure he probably will, despite the technical issues. Then yeah, we got your names done. So the numbers 28-8 for Jan, and then we got Glover Takeshira there 31-7. So in terms of and Glover is a veteran, of course, in the sport. He's been around for ages. But in terms of the height of these guys, they're pretty even matched. And again, with the reach, only 2 inches separates the both, going to Jan, of course, with 78 inches over Glover's 76. Sorry. So yeah, in terms of height, yeah, pretty evenly split across the board there. Both these. Let's see what the people had to say about this particular matchup, and yeah, let's try another way of video for Ash.
Jan Blockovich, just because Glover Takeshira is getting out of his prime, and I don't think he can beat Jan.
And then we have our UFC 267 main event, Glover versus Blackovich. And I've always been a Jan fan, ever since he joined the UFC from KSW. He's always put on great fights, and, he's got a fan-friendly style. I definitely give the ground advantage to Glover in this fight. If he can get it down, I think that he's very capable of winning the fight, but I'm giving it to Jan via KO round 2. Those are my picks, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the fights as well.
And we're back. I know you guys were just stuck in that tension, wondering if we're ever going to come back. But no, of course, yeah, we're not going to leave you. So look, that was a pretty good pick again from people. So again, we had Taylor and Chris chiming in. Again, if you do get a chance to follow these guys on the Twitter accounts, their handles are just there as well. Got some really great opinions and breakdowns. Ash just said, "Can you hear me?" If you can hear Ash, let's get some emojis in the chat. Let's say Ash, don't worry, we can hear you. He's saying help right now. I am having a word with the Streamlabs OBS people about this. Leave it all the same, yeah? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because he would have a look at it as well, and honestly, everything is just saying what it should say. All right, so this one here. Last one. Here we go. So we've got the KO TKO. We've got 26% and 58%. So Teixeira is a guy who does knockouts, but he's a veteran. He's been around forever. So he's been doing it since he was, 5 years old probably. So, and then you got, of course, Jan with 26% knockouts. And then, of course, in terms of submissions and that way of getting the job finished, exactly the same, 29% each a pop. And then decisions, of course, 45% and 13%. So Jan is someone who does go a bit more of the distance to those decisions. And, of course, as you can imagine, Teixeira, 41 years old. Is 41 years old? This guy for maybe 42 now? 43 even. Wow, the guy's getting on. But, yeah, he doesn't see many decisions. He's getting the job come from early, which is probably why he's able to see such longevity in the UFC. Once you're getting people done before the end, then you'll absorb one less strikes and probably got to run a little far further. So, strikes wise, it looks pretty even across the board here. This is going to be a tough one as well. In terms of the striking ability of each of these guys, it's pretty equally matched. 30 got 3.59 for Yan, 3.75 for Blockovich. Significant strikes against, dance around the same numbers, 49% and 47%. And then defense, 53% and 54%. Like, not much separates these guys other than, the absorbed amount, which is slightly more for someone like Teixeira, who's just been around for longer. So, you're going to get more strikes percentage-wise. So, not much we can sort of differentiate there. But maybe we can see a clean advantage here in the grappling. So, from what you know of each of these guys, where do you think the grappling is going to be leaning most towards? Bora, grappling, yeah. Yeah, did put on a wrestling display against Izzy, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. It made sense, isn't it? For that fight to get it done that way, it just made sense, 100%. I think. And yeah, look, personally, I think you're right. If you're looking at how this fight goes, if it does go to the mat, I'm favoring Teixeira for it. But Teixeira is a guy who's, I don't know how he does it, right? The guy's like 43 years old, and he just strike upon strike upon strike. Yeah. Thiago Santos, right? That fight. Yeah. How we come out on top of that fight after getting steamrolled, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a really good point, to be fair. And it's like, the guy just overcomes adversity. And even at that age, it's just such a significant thing, which is why, for some people in their eyes, he's worthy of just titling the division. Some people want to do it out of pity. They can imagine he's probably not going to be around for much longer. It's like, give him the belt, at least because, exactly, so he can have it and, go home happy. But, otherwise, like anything, you got to fight for it, right? So, one's got our hearts and then one's just got our minds in terms of like logically getting it done. But yeah, it's certainly impressive, the grappling wise, how it stacks up against Teixeira. Submissions, 0.99 for Teixeira, and of course 0.22 for Yan, sort of submission average. And that's of course across the fact that they both got 29% finishes via submission. So let's look at the gauge for this, how we're going to match it up. Where are you going to go? Striking. Who do you give it to? Yeah? In the numbers, it was pretty evenly matched, but you still favor Yan for this. I agree. Striking-wise, I will certainly go Yan to have the advantage in this. And then grappling, I guess we're both going to go Teixeira. Power, though. Now, this is going to be important. Yeah, there it is. Lego Blockovich. yeah, no, that's it as well. Yeah, the power, I'll go in that. I think, how is it going to be received in this fight? It's going to be received for the fist, and, who's got a striking advantage. Yeah, so power, certainly Blockovich, I think. Speed. I think it's going to be the younger guy. He's going to be the faster one in this one as well. But cardio. Now, who's been here for longer? Who's got more wars going? He has. Jan's been 5 rounds for some time now, as well as. Yes, good point. Teixeira. He is. He's getting over the hill a little bit. Age is catching up with him. Yeah. Something Chris and the guys were saying in the picks as well, of course. That, like, age for this guy is not on his side, and that can probably show, particularly in this, in something like cardio and speed. So, for that one, we'll go for it. So, the way that matches up, we actually haven't had a card yet where it's fully one-sided. Everyone's been, there's been advantages just shared across them. But this is one of those ones where it's dominantly on Jan's side when you look at the MMA maths. But, who are you going to go with here? Is your heart speaking too loud and saying Teixeira is going to get a win? Yeah. I think I'm in danger of just really wanting Teixeira to win, to sort of make that decision to go, yeah. But you got to be logical with these things, and yeah. Okay, mate, that wraps it up then, doesn't it? That's the main event. that's that done. We got all the picks in. We didn't have any. Most of these fight nights, these sort of fight picks would have like someone from the UFC giving their pick in as well. So before we've had Modestus say his words on who he's going to be taking some fights. We've also had Eric Anders chiming in, Nathaniel Wood. And we get some exciting voices here as well. This week we didn't, but wait, stay tuned for next week. Next pay-per-view event we might. Yeah. So the idea is, of course, again, that just sums up another people's picks here with Sai and Ash. So we'll be able to do this every single pay-per-view event just ahead of the time. Get your picks here on the stage, break down the analysis, and just find out how we're going to be calling these fights and why. So hopefully that was useful for you guys. Don't miss the watch along on Saturday. It's going to be 7 p.m. here, UK time, and we're going to be all rallying around for it. Yes, yeah, we're going to fix the sound problem for that one. We'll hear Ash. I promise you that. We'll do whatever it takes and get that sorted. If not, I'll drive down to his house personally, pay his missus £20 and take him up here to London so he can sit and enjoy us here in the hide of us where we usually do these things. But yeah, guys, again, absolute pleasure. It's been great. Thanks for those of you who sent your picks in. If you want to send your picks in for the next one, use the email down below. Record your picks, fire that on in, and be able to sort of put it up to the show too. But this was our first People Pick show. Thanks for bearing with us. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll get on top of those technical issues next time. All right, guys. Peace out. Good night.